Your wallet needs a memory. That is the whole episode. Not a slogan, not a brand feature, a memory. Last episode, we talked about address reuse, why a Bitcoin address is not a username, and why fresh addresses help keep different payment contexts from collapsing into one public folder. But fresh addresses create a new problem. If every receive address is different, how do you remember what each one was for? Was this coin from an exchange withdrawal? Was this payment from a client? Was this a gift from a friend? Was this your cold storage stack? Was this your business wallet? Was this change from a spend? The blockchain will not remember that for you. The blockchain records transactions. It does not know your intent. It does not know your relationships. It does not know which coins feel private, which coins are tied to your name, which coins are business records, and which coins should probably never be spent together. That context lives in your wallet. And if you do not write it down, future you has to guess. That is where wallet labels come in. A wallet label is a local note attached to an address, transaction, coin, invoice, or payment context. The important word is local. A label is not written into the blockchain. It is not broadcast to the Bitcoin network. It is not a public tag that follows your coins around the internet. It is your own record. It is a note to future you. And future you needs help. Because Bitcoin is transparent in a way most people are not used to. Every transaction is public. Every input and output exists forever. But the human meaning behind those inputs and outputs is not public by default. That sounds good, until you are the one trying to make a responsible spending decision 2 years later. You open the wallet, you see a list of coins. One coin came from a KYC exchange. One came from a public donation address. One came from a friend who knows your name. One came from a client invoice. One came back as change from an old transaction. The amounts are visible. The dates are visible. The transaction history is visible. But the reason each coin exists may be gone from your head. Now you want to spend. If you spend coins together, you may link them. If you mix business and personal receipts, you may create record confusion. If you combine a public coin with a private coin, you may leak more than you intended. If you do not know which coin is which, you are driving blind. Wallet labels are the headlights. They do not make the road disappear. They help you see what you are doing. Think about the simplest example. You withdraw from an exchange to a fresh receive address. The wallet gives you an address. You receive the coins. Then you label the transaction. Exchange withdrawal, July 2026. That label is boring. That is why it is good. 6 months later, if you look at that coin, you know its origin. You know it came from an exchange. You know it may already be linked to your identity through that exchange. That does not mean the coin is bad. It means the coin has context. Now compare that with a different receipt. You receive a payment from a client. Label it. Client invoice, July 2026. Again, boring. Again, useful. Now compare that with a gift from a friend. Label it. Gift from friend, birthday, July 2026. The label is not for the blockchain. It is not for the network. It is for the moment later when you are choosing what to spend. This is why labels connect directly to coin control. Coin control is the ability to choose which coins your wallet spends. Labels make that choice intelligible. Without labels, coin control becomes a list of random amounts and dates. With labels, coin control becomes a decision. Use this coin, avoid that one, do not combine these two, keep this context separate. A label is not advanced magic. It is operational hygiene. It is the Bitcoin version of writing the memo line on a check, naming a folder, or labeling a receipt before tax season. But there is a trap here. People often wait until after the wallet is messy. They receive to fresh addresses, which is good. They avoid address reuse, which is good. But they never label anything. Then months later, the wallet looks like a drawer full of cables. Everything might be useful. Nothing is obvious. That is when mistakes happen. Not because Bitcoin failed, because the human memory layer failed. Here is the practical rule. Label the context at the moment the context is obvious. Do not wait. When you create a receive address, label why it exists. When a payment lands, label where it came from. When you send a transaction, label what it was for. When change comes back, label the parent spend if your wallet makes that possible. The best time to label is when the memory is fresh. The worst time is 2 years later, under pressure, with a tax deadline, a privacy concern, or a large spend in front of you. There is another reason this matters. Your wallet balance is a summary, not an explanation. A single balance can hide several histories. 2 million sats from an exchange withdrawal, 700,000 sats from a client invoice, 300,000 sats from a friend, 50,000 sats of change from a previous spend. On the screen, those may collapse into one number. In reality, they are not the same. They do not have the same origin. They do not have the same privacy profile. They do not have the same record-keeping context. They do not create the same consequences if you combine them. This is why the bank account mental model keeps failing. In a bank account, the dollars blend together in the institution's database. In Bitcoin, the wallet may show one balance, but underneath that balance are separate coins, separate UTXOs, separate receipts, separate histories. Labels are how the human layer keeps up with the technical layer. If you are casual with labels, the wallet slowly becomes harder to reason about. At first, that does not feel like a problem. You only have a few transactions. You remember what happened. The amounts look familiar. Then time passes. You change jobs. You change wallets. You receive from more sources. You test a new address. You consolidate something. You send a payment. Change comes back. Suddenly, the wallet is not a story anymore. It is a pile of artifacts. And when a wallet becomes a pile of artifacts, people start making the most dangerous decision in Bitcoin. They click spend and hope the wallet does something sensible. Sometimes it will, sometimes it will not. The point of labels is not to make every user paranoid. It is to make ordinary decisions less blind. If the coin is from an exchange, label it. If the coin is from a public address, label it. If the coin is from a business invoice, label it. If the coin is change, label what created the change. If the coin is for long-term cold storage, label that too. Not because labels make you invisible, because labels keep you oriented. Now, what should a good label say? Not everything. Do not write sensitive information you would hate to lose if a wallet backup were exposed. A label should give enough context to make a future decision. Source, purpose, relationship, date, maybe a short category, exchange withdrawal, client payment, cold storage transfer, donation address, business receipt, friend repayment, hardware wallet test, change from rent payment. Those are useful labels. They are plain, they are searchable, they tell future you what this coin meant. But labels are not a cure-all. They do not erase chain history. They do not make reused addresses safe. They do not make a public donation address private. They do not prevent every wallet from choosing inputs automatically. They do not replace tax records. They do not replace backups. They do not turn a messy wallet into a perfect privacy machine. They are memory. And memory is only useful if you use it before the crisis. The mental model is simple. Fresh addresses reduce unnecessary public linkage on the way in. Wallet labels preserve context after the coins arrive. Coin control uses that context when coins go out. That is the chain. Receive cleanly, remember clearly, spend intentionally. If you only do the first step, you are better than before, but still incomplete. If you receive to fresh addresses but never label anything, you create cleaner receipts with no filing system. That works for a week. It fails over years. The mistake is thinking privacy is only about hiding. A lot of Bitcoin privacy is actually about remembering. Remembering which coins share a history. Remembering which coins came from a public source. Remembering which coins belong to a business context. Remembering which coins you do not want to merge casually. Remembering that a wallet is not one blob. It is a set of pieces with stories. Labels keep those stories attached. So here's the checklist. First, when your wallet gives you a fresh receive address, label the reason before you share it. Second, when coins arrive, label the source while you still know it. Third, separate personal, business, exchange, donation, and cold storage contexts. Fourth, keep labels short enough to use but specific enough to matter. Fifth, do not put secrets in labels. Sixth, back up wallet data carefully because labels may not always travel the same way seed words do. Seventh, before spending, look at the labels and ask what you are about to connect. That last question is the whole point. What am I about to connect? That is the question most wallets cannot answer for you unless you gave them the memory first. Bitcoin gives you control, but control without memory becomes guesswork. and guesswork is where avoidable mistakes live. So label the coin when the story is fresh. Future, you will not remember every receipt. Your wallet can. Next episode, we turn that memory into action. Coin control and how choosing which coins you spend can change the privacy story of the transaction. This is Exit Velocity. Think in Bitcoin. Educational only. Not financial, tax, legal, security, or privacy advice.